supporting our teachers and the staff in this endeavor. As Henry Ford once said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So that motivates me to continue to serving on the board, to continue to make meaningful improvements to the learning environment, and to support the best teaching practices that will prepare every student for career choices and for lifelong learning. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deborah Crosby Ford, and I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for allowing me a moment to introduce myself. I have served for 6 years on Gatesville ISD Board. 2 of those years as Vice President. Gatesville is my hometown. I grew up here. I graduated from GHS, and all my children are Gatesville alumni as well. I have a bachelor's degree in science and a master's degree in education. I have over 20 years experience as a public school teacher and school counselor in 4 different public school districts in the state of Texas. I live, eat, and pray for public schools. I hope tonight you will decide to cast your vote for me as your Gatesville ISD trustee. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Charles Alderson, and I'd like to start this by just saying, wow, 13 candidates running for 3 seats on the school board. This tells me that there's a lot of concerns and conflicts going on in this district to have 13 running. And I will add that if you want somebody to step up and make some of these changes, I'm the guy you want to vote for. I can tell you I have been in Gatesville for 40 years. I'm proud to announce I am beginning my 50th year in public education. I have a platform believing in teacher support, both in and out of the classroom, student discipline, teacher retention, and a strong curriculum. And again, I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Rob Urban. I grew up in Gatesville, went to school, Gatesville Schools, graduated from Gatesville High School. I served on the school board 1 term, 1 year of that as vice president. Tonight you'll hear a lot of things about our school district. Some of them good, some of them not so good, and some of them will surprise you. Please keep in mind there are a lot of great things happening at GISD. I want to make our district a place where parents want their kids to go to school, a place where state-certified teachers wait in line for an opening to work at Gatesville. We have to start investing in quality personnel instead of programs to make this a place where we truly do what's best for our kids. Our school needs to be a place where students succeed because they have pride in themselves and in their work. My hope is to get back to being firm, fair, and consistent school district where everyone is held accountable for their actions, and I want everyone affiliated with our school and in this town to be proud to call themselves a Gatesville Hornet. Thank each and one of you for caring enough to come out tonight, and remember, your vote is your voice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan Coggins, and I'm honored to be one of the 13 candidates running for GISD School Board Trustee. I'm a product of this school district and want to be a part of its continued success. As a current student, I can provide a unique perspective and will be more in touch with the day-to-day realities concerning students and staff here at the district. As a student of GHS, I've been actively involved in the improvement of students' lives. I currently serve as the president of the Gatesville High School Student Council. In this position, I've worked to build programs and events in this school that will build school spirit, respect for our community, and will positively improve the learning environment of GISD. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
I'm Stephen Norris. This is going to be fast. I came to Gatesville in July of 1980 with Kathy, my bride of 2 months. Soon, I became the team physician for the Gatesville Hornets. In 1984, Les Reeves urged me to run for the school board. During my tenure, I have participated in 5 superintendent searches, at least 3 bond issues, 11 elections, innumerable grievance procedures, and lawsuits. The district was voted Outstanding District in Region 12 in 2002 under James Bays, and all of our campuses currently meet expectations. I was recruited to save the hospital as we were losing $50,000 a month when I came. For the first 15 years of my practice, I was on call every night. I have been the only surgeon in Gatesville for 35 years. I've been a Sunday school teacher for over 30 years. I am a deacon and sing in the choir at the First Baptist Church. This is my experience, values, and work ethic. The decision is yours. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Minton. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for everybody coming out. I feel just blessed to be here with all these other people. I'll tell you, me and my wife moved here about 12 years ago with our kids. I have one that's in 7th grade, one that's a freshman. They both stay active in baseball, football. I usually coach them in football and baseball up until 6th grade. We pretty much stay active with the school and around town. Our church, Trinity Baptist Church, I'm on the deacon board there and on the Gatesville Youth Sports football board here. I think pretty much my goal is I stand with teachers. You cannot give them enough help. There's no such thing as giving teachers too much help. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone. One of the biggest things that you're going to hear tonight is 13 different perspectives, but in reality, we're all work for one focus, one goal, and that's to better the school system. We all have different ways. What you're going to get from me is a change in the paradigm of the school board. No longer will you need to come to the school board meetings. We all have time for a family. We're going to get out to the community. My job is to reintroduce the school board to the community so that those issues and the concerns are not brought out every election, but every month, every week. And every time that your kid comes home and saying there's a lack of discipline, there's lack of safety, lack of security, you have a voice now. So for teachers and our students, we have that perspective, but the community is just urging us to try and get them involved. So from charity to the community, you will no longer need to find the school board. I'll come and find you. Thank you for your vote.
Hi, my name is Tony Fernandez. I've been in Gatesville since the 3rd grade. I graduated here. I have 3 children that have already graduated. I have a daughter that's currently in 10th grade. I've coached these kids that come through here for the last 18 years in martial arts. I think we all know that there's major concern or there wouldn't be this many of us up here. I'm here for that same reason, to better our community and to provide what I have to offer. I believe we need to focus on student programs, but mostly on teachers, giving them what they want in order for them to stay here and want to stay here, not go elsewhere. There's a lot of different ways we can do that, and I believe with all of us working together, we can do that. The better the teacher is, the better the student is, I believe. Thank you all very much.
I'm a proud 1990 graduate of the GHS and married to Keith Bankhead, also a graduate of GHS. We have 2 children, a 6th grader and an 8th grader, who are 3rd generation students. I have a Bachelor of Business Administration at Tarleton and have been managing my family's business for over 26 years. I am asking for your vote. I strongly feel that I can be an asset and a positive voice for our schools. I believe I am able to help create new ideas as well as offer encouragement to bring back the core values that's always kept GISD a positive experience for the students and the staff. Thank you.
Hello, I'm David Fincher. I'm 59 years old, born and raised here in Gatesville. My wife of 37 years is a retired teacher, 28 years teaching. My biggest concerns are we've lost a lot of good teachers, close friends of mine, and students. Students are our product, and that's what is going to make our town carry on, is the students that we produce. They're our citizens. I'm all for vocational. We need to work on our vocational program. I own my own business about 40 years now. I should be thinking about retirement, but there's not a plan. I'm just going to keep working. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I'm Joe Campbell. I've moved here in 2011, so I'm probably here the least amount of time, but I love my community. and I'm standing here so that I could get my message out to each of you. I was involved with the strategic plan for the district, and I had some pretty interesting conversations with some current educators and some past educators, and it bothers me that we've lost quality teachers. I've even hurt some of their feelings because I just didn't want to believe some of the stories I was hearing. So I want to be involved in this. We have got to make our education system in Gatesville a top-notch education system where teachers want to teach and our children need to learn. And we need to do that by providing a vehicle for those teachers and support. They need to be able to know that we can be trusted and they can be trusted. And we need to reach out to parents. And parents, you've got to get back involved in your child education. That's why I'm here. I ask for your vote.
Candidates, you can take some seats. We're going to be here a while. We drew the numbers randomly, of course, and every candidate's going to have a chance to be the first to answer a question. The questions came from you, the audience. They came from educators throughout the district and then even in other districts. These are good questions, in my opinion. Everybody has 1 minute to answer the questions. So, starting off with Mr. Westbrook. The board has several responsibilities, but what do you feel should be the primary mission of the school board? I think the primary mission of the school board should always be, in this district and any district, to support student achievement and helping every student individually and as a group advance and learn to the fullest of their ability by providing them the opportunities necessary to do so. That would also entail hiring, retention, and support of instructional staff and support staff, both through ongoing training and through behavioral support, and maybe increasing our salary schedule, and also by making sure we've identified the needs and interests of each of those students so that we can address those needs and help them become the most responsible, productive citizen they can when they leave GHS.
The primary mission, I think the primary mission of GISD and what the school board should be focused on is first and foremost that the school exists to service the educational needs of the kids in the community, and by extension the parents. So I think they've got to focus on providing a well-rounded quality education to the students of GISD and give them career options. And I also believe that you have to work on teacher retention and providing comprehensive, competitive package for compensation. So those are two very, very important goals and missions that the school board should be working on.
Okay. What number is that we're talking about? 17. Okay. What should be the primary mission of Gatesville ISD? I'm going to read my answer because I wrote it this morning, and I want to read it exactly as I wrote it. The mission of Gatesville ISD, a portal to limitless possibilities, is to empower our students to be life-ready knowledge seekers and problem solvers by instilling leadership, innovation, integrity, critical thinking, and service through challenging and engaging learning experiences facilitated by passionate teachers and supported by caring parents and community members.
The primary mission of Gatesville ISD is to give the students the best education possible from the very top, from the valedictorian down to the lowest ranked student in the campus. Now, to do this, you've got to do this by serving it through vocational programs, special ed programs, mainstream programs, honors, and even maybe advanced dual credit through the high school and the college. I can tell you it helped enormously
when I had a daughter to go to A&M, and she had 22 credits, dual credits, when she enrolled. And by the semester, she was already a sophomore. And we need to look at incorporating more vocational programs that'll meet the needs of the working students and provide the best quality education by, again, recruiting top-notch teachers as well. Thank you.
I think our current mission statement can be found on GISD website. I think it's spot on. We need to provide our students with the opportunities they need to become productive and successful members of society. We will do that by making sure that our teachers have what they need in terms of classroom supplies and support from school administration, and holding students accountable for their actions so they are better equipped for real life once they graduate.
We are an educational system above anything else, so the primary mission of GISD should be to provide an environment and curriculum standard where all students can reach their full learning potential. We need to focus our time on improving and adding to the great educational program that we already possess here at GISD. Despite comments on social media and discussions about how our district is falling apart, there are a lot of great operations and programs that are being implemented on a daily basis here at GISD. I, as a member of the GISD School Board, will maintain a positive and respectful attitude that will focus on the well-being of our students and their education. It is the students that we are here to work for. Like they've said down there, teacher retention is a big issue as well, but the primary mission of GISD needs to be to provide the students with their best educational learning environment.
The primary mission of Gatesville ISD is to educate our students and to prepare them to be good citizens, capable of critical thinking, decision-making, trained to be effective communicators, and trained to accept personal accountability.
I think the main mission that we should have is educators to educate the kids. Whatever it takes to get them to understand or learn, you have to find out how each kid learns and teach them that way. I do believe we need more vocational classes, not just focus on teacher retention, but also children retention. Other kids are moving out and stuff like that. Some kids are wanting to drop out. Make sure they stay here, and they want to stay here. Kids don't usually want to have or come to school, but they should want to. They should enjoy coming to school.
The mission that we developed in the Strategic Action Committee back in May was, as Ed pointed out, fairly long and brought down, but let's break it down. What our whole job is to make sure that the students leave here life ready. And what that means is not college ready, not being able to pass the STAR test at the highest level, and not just for trades, but a well-rounded person. These people are going out into the world and are going to be representatives of Gatesville. So we've heard good citizenship, good stewards of Gatesville. That's what we're making, is good people as we leave here. So as I look at the school board, students are our users. What we need to do is treat this as a business and look at the teachers and the administration. They're our customers. The parents are our customers. We need to make them help. No student ever left Gatesville because they chose to. Their parents pulled them out because they didn't feel there was great opportunities. Our mission is to bring those opportunities back.
Of course, we all believe and we all know as a school board and a school system that our number one priority should be our students and their education and their future. I believe the way we provide that is providing better teaching staff, involving them more, providing them with what they need. You have to have that teachers, you have to have teachers that want to come, not just because they need a job. You produce good teachers, you produce good students, and that will involve a lot more parents to be involved in our school system. And that's what we need.
The primary mission is to give the kids the best and highest education the school district can achieve so they can thrive as they leave our grade schools and become fulfilling good citizens and be successful throughout their life.
To me, the district is a business. The product is the student. The teacher produces the product, So you have good teachers, good discipline, end result, good product.
I certainly agree that our mission is to educate, but we also do need to treat this as a business. And a mission statement that is missing is we need to be a desired place to work. We need to make Gatesville Independent School District a place that teachers want to work. And we have a lot of parents and teachers that want to work here but don't feel appreciated, and we need to make sure that we add them to our mission statement. It's not just about the kids, because the kids are being taught by the teacher, so we have to get the teacher re-engaged and want to do their jobs because they're supported. So we need to make the mission about the teacher and the kids.
What is your experience to date with public education?
In the school system. I graduated from GHS. Many of my family members did. I have a daughter that graduated. I have 3 kids currently in the school district. My mother is a retired GISD teacher. I grew up at the schools, and I've been a trustee since 2011. So many of my family members are public school educators and administrators, so there's rarely a family get-together where we don't talk about education. Matter of fact, I just had one on Sunday. So I've been around it and in it, and I also even have a grandson that's in a public educational system. So that's my experience. Thank you.
My own experience with public education. I remember vividly being a 6-year-old little girl walking into the new primary building for the first time 45 years ago. I can still recall the smells of new carpet and fresh paint and the beautiful orange-colored pathway throughout the building. It was like our very own yellow brick road leading us to the wizards of knowledge, our teachers. I'm so happy that we have provided a new elementary school for all of our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade students to enjoy while they are learning and growing. And I hope that the wonderful smells of that new building will remind them that someone cares enough to provide the best learning environment for them so that they can follow their own yellow brick road and find their own wonderful Wizards of Oz.
As I announced earlier, I am beginning my 50th year in public education. 40 of those have been employed here by Gatesville ISD. During that time, I have been a coach, a teacher. I was a high school assistant principal for 10 years. I was a junior high assistant principal for 4 years. I was alternative education instructor, I think, about 20. And then I wound up being a attendance officer and a truancy officer for the district. Currently, I'm employed at Evan ISD in the capacity of ISS and truancy officer also. While employed here, I had a job of many hats. I was, of course, a disciplinarian. I worked in concession stands, getting the concession stands ready. I did banquets, set up chairs, took down chairs. If there are PA systems, you can go on and on and on. And again, it's been a long road, and I hope it continues to go.
My experience with public education is my parents, my wife and I, our children, all graduated from Gatesville ISD. I have 2 grandsons currently attending Gatesville ISD. I've served 1 term on the Board of Trustees. One of those years, one of the 3-year term, I was vice president. In that 3-year term, I made every meeting. My wife has taught in GISD for over 24 years, leaving in 2015. I'm very aware of the issues that have come about in the last few years for that reason.
I'm currently experiencing my 12th year here at GISD, but not as a teacher, administrator, parent, etc., but as a student. I'm currently a senior in high school and have a unique and up-to-date experience of the public education system than no other candidate on the stage. I can provide a younger vision and a much more unique perspective on the day-to-day lives of both the students and staff here at GISD because I know what goes on day to day.
I am not a teacher, and regretfully, my position does not encourage me to interact directly with the teachers. I have enjoyed visiting with our staff when the opportunity presents itself, going through the public schools in Comanche, being on the board for a long time, and participating in continuing education offered through the Texas Association of School Boards and our Regional Service Center is the extent of my experience with public education.
My experience is sorry about that. My experience is, like I said earlier, I have 2 kids in school here. They've been here since first grade. Freshmen. We've got to work with some of the coaches, teachers. We've had very good experiences. Anytime you have any problems, you have an open door policy to go up and talk to them, and I like that.
First and foremost, for the GISD, proud father of 2 daughters that are in 8th grade and 10th grade, and one's going to state on November 4th. So quite proud of that. But thank you. So I'm very proud of her. I had to say that. But I am a certified interscholastic coach. I've taught and trained and coached many of your kids for about 6 years here. But really what got me into the public forum in GISD is one of the strategic action committee and action teams. I've done numerous projects for the administration, a community path, which we'll get there eventually, and some other projects for the school board. And I wanted to give a little more. It's sad when the best part of your morning ends working with the students at 7, and I'm blessed to know many of the teachers who continue that during the day. And really, I just want to give back and give you a chance to make those changes that you so desperately need. Thank you.
I don't have the experience being a teacher as some of the other candidates here. I have had 3 students. As a parent, I have lots of experience. I have had issues with the school, and we found a nice resolution for it through a professional action rather than some of the ways that I've seen some parents do. I've taught Little League, all the students that come through here, even when my own students weren't in or on that team. I've taught lots of some of the students that y'all wished weren't even in school, that had trouble, a lot of criminal records. I taught them martial arts and tried to steer them into a better position. Lots of those students are doing real good right now. They all hold jobs. Very few of those students are in jail as if they had been already. But my greatest skill is I will offer an ear, and I'm a hard worker, and my goal is for the students and for the teachers and parents involved.
My own public education experience is that I have attended K through 12 here at Gatesville schools, and I also have 2 children now, as I said earlier, that are going through school. I have also been engaged in my kids' education, whether it be going to their classrooms, going to their sporting events, going to book fairs, helping out in the different schools where and as needed, sharpening pencils, cutting paper. If the teachers need help, I was there for them.
Well, first off, it's quite an experience living with a teacher. You feel like some days that you relive that day. And, it's good for the teacher to come home and vent. But I've been on the school board for a 3-year term. I've had young students come into my shop on tours that I don't remember what class it was they brought, but we had a hands-on demonstration that day to show them what we do in our business. I've worked with 4-H as an adult leader for the years that my 2 children were in 4-H. And also I've had student workers, the ones that are in the work program, work for me. So other than that, 12-year term here at school, and I finally got out.
My experience with the public education is I'm a product of public education from a small town very similar to this, and I'm going to tell you a story that with 5 tomatoes. I struggled with how many feet are in a mile, and a teacher took time to say, Joe, this is easy. 5,280. That's how many feet are in a mile. I'll remember that until I die, because she said, it's 5 tomatoes. And to this day, I place things in my mind from my memory, and people will tell you that know me well. I remember things like no other. And I got that from a public education, from a teacher that cared. And that's why I'm here, because teachers care, or otherwise they'd be sitting in big offices making big paychecks. They're here for the future. There's a child that needs to be touched by a teacher with something they will take forward for the rest of their lives. And I own multiple businesses today because those teachers took that time to make me who I am.
5 tomatoes. Candidates, it's Ms. Ford. Oh, no, you haven't even finished.
It's all good. As far as my experience in public education, I've been involved in public education for 38 years, 35 of those as a teacher, 22 of those as a teacher, and 9 as an assistant principal on 3 different campuses here in GISD. I had the privilege of serving as Gatesville High School principal for 3 years. That was absolutely both the best and the most stressful position I ever had in education. Any of you who are teachers who ever get a chance to step up, I would encourage you to do so, because it is an incredibly rewarding experience. Beyond my time of teaching, I'm now involved as a professional service provider for schools in need of improvement. I've worked with several local districts in that and gained perspectives from that. I also go out and do observations with alternative teaching candidates, and I've gained a broad perspective on how things work in different districts from that, and I think I could bring that back to Gatesville. I'd also like to say I believe in the quality of public education in this state.
Your goals and objectives completed. So how are you going to work as a board member with the other board members in order to get your goals and objectives for the district achieved?
Well, I've been doing it for 6 years, and we've done a lot. So, a lot of good things, and it takes all of us together, working together. Gatesville ISD hired, let's see, what number am I on? 19. Okay, a trustee. I just feel like my job as a trustee is to work with the other board members. I don't have a personal agenda. I don't have a vendetta against anyone. I just want to serve my community and do what's best for the kids.
As a board member, you have, or I should say a board has 7 different employees or boards. Man, I've messed this up big time. There's 7 members on the board, and each person has their own idea on what ought to be done. So what you've got to do is everybody has got to present their idea on the way something should be done, and then it involves a system of weeding through that to determine what is best, compromises occurring, and come upon a solution. You pass it. If it doesn't work out, then you come back at another time, reevaluate what you have done, rehash it, and then try again until you get it the way you need it. And that's what you've got to do as a board member in order to get along with everyone and be successful. Thank you.
I think an effective board member, you have to do your own research. You have to present accurate documentation of all the facts that are being discussed. You have to take a common sense approach. You have to be willing to ask the difficult questions. You have to be informed. Sometimes you must put your opinions aside, and we need to remember to stick to the facts and remember that every decision we make will have an impact on the employees, the students, as well as the parents and the taxpayers.
The answer to this question is very simple. Communication is key. You have actually 8 members that serve on your school board. You have 7 voting members, and then your superintendent is included as a member of your board. And together, you have to work as a team. You must keep transparency with each other, and you must always be respectful towards each other. Arguing, being childish, having a vendetta against one another is going to get you absolutely nowhere. You have to communicate, and you have to be respectful towards one another.
We have hired our superintendent to be the CEO of the district. He manages the day-to-day affairs of the district. If I have a goal that I would like to advance, I will go to the superintendent, explain my idea. He will listen, give feedback, and help define my goal. Then together, present the goal to the entire board. You must remember that it is a violation of the Open Meetings Act to speak to more than 3 members of the board individually or in a group. This is called a rolling quorum, as 3 of them and you make 4, which is a quorum. So it is best to do all of your recruiting and your discussing for support during the board meetings and not in the cloakroom. If the other members agree that it is the best for your kids, then they will join you.
Like as already said, communication. And to me, it's mutual respect. You have to respect each other on the board, respect their opinions, respect what they have to say. If you disagree with it or agree, still show the due respect with it. I sit on a few boards right now, and we work very well with each other, as long as you don't have outside agendas and you work together for a common goal.
I'm a veteran of the United States Army and then worked with the government for quite a few years working on different projects. And if you think this is hard, go to different countries, different languages, different perspectives, and guys who don't want to get along. So I'm not too concerned about talking to 7 other people in a school board meeting. But really what you need to do is, if you have a priority, you stick with it. Right? So there's compromise and there's working with others and getting your point across, but you really cannot stop at saying compromise is enough, or I'm just going to be open communication and let them get their way. And big arm movements, big issues, everybody talks about security of the schools and safety and discipline, but shouting and losing 6-2 is not going to further our agenda and the issues we have. I have a good way of getting my ideas across, and I can influence and push my ideas forward. And we no longer will have those 6-2 votes if you're just yelling and screaming at it. Thank you.
I believe we're all grown and mature here. It shouldn't be an issue. And if there is an issue with somebody shouting and screaming, they shouldn't really be up here. I believe even with our own personal agendas, no matter what they may be, or goals and ideas, they should not oversee that our main goal is for the students. And sometimes your idea or my idea may not be right. And we need to drop our egos and focus on the student, focus on the teacher, and not our own personal so much agendas. Thank you.
Factors in supporting each other on the board. Supporting the goals. If I have a goal that I'm trying to say is a good goal, and I'm trying to convince another board member that my choice is good, and then I need to make sure I have all the facts to back it up, and then it must be to where everybody is respectful in presenting the information, to where we can all work together in finding the right choice.
In order for everybody to get along, or for me to present an ideal I've got to present the ideal right, and I've got to have good information to back up my ideal. Not always are people going to agree, and there's lots of different ways to look at something. Sometimes it takes time for everything to gel and come together. It may not happen in the first meeting when you bring that ideal up, but don't give up. Come back with it again, and maybe everybody can work on it and come to a mutual agreement.
I absolutely agree that communication is a big part of it. Compromise is somewhat a part of it, but I'm also not afraid to have the tough conversations that might need to be had on this board in the very near future. Because I don't want to compromise on some things, again, I'll have the tough conversations that we've had in some of my strategic meetings.
Well, on specific issues, I think the best way to go about gaining a consensus is to state what your feelings are, specify the good aspects of what you're trying to do and how they're positively impact students, teachers, and the district and the community as a whole. Also, that involves listening to your colleagues on the board, because I think we all have a common goal of trying to do what's best for the district. You gather all input, you gather all the different viewpoints, and try to come to a common ground and reach a consensus that all of you feel is the best for all parties involved.
You know, and procedure and how to tackle things. So for me, just working on the board and having been there, in order to be effective, you need to do the necessary research to identify the issues and potential solutions, bring the information to an open meeting and get it put on the agenda. You know, board policies state that at least 2 members need to be in agreement to get it on the agenda. And that can be done during an open meeting or by going through, you know, directly engaging the superintendent to get that done. So, and once it's on the agenda, again, bring your research, your data, bring solutions and your ideas, and be ready to just have an open, transparent communication and hash it out.
You've ever had to do anything underneath the old meetings act? How many people have you ever heard of the old meetings act? Yeah, it's not fun. Mr. Alderson.
Yes, sir.
You have been here for 50 years in your career.
Yes, sir.
As a board member, you know, I don't think anybody would want to be focusing on next year, next 2 years. I think you really need to be focusing on the next 50 years. You know, what do you see? All this goes to all the candidates. This number 16. Where does the district need to focus their resources for the next 10, 20, and 50 years? Is it in improving the facilities, teacher retirement, teacher retention? What is it, in your opinion, where that needs to go for the long term?
Right now, I think we need to improve our technology.
My goal, if possible, would be to give or purchase a computer for every student in the school district. It may be a tablet, preferably, that they can keep during their entire 12 years as such. Computers would be fine, but you cannot build computer labs because then you need numerous computer labs. It's easier to give out one student a computer, say, this one is yours, you take care of it. And there is just a world of information out there in the technology end that's available. I can tell you at Event, our kids carry cell phones. We let them pull them out and research their stuff on their cell phones. So basically, they have a computer at their disposal. I think we also need to look at teacher retention, recruitment should be a primary goal as well. But technology is a wave of the future. Thank you.
I think teacher recruitment and retention must be a high priority. Our district has lost countless years of teaching experience in the past 2 years, and the damage that has been done will take many years to repair. Student achievement and outcome is proportional to quality classroom instruction. Regarding technology, we have no choice but to keep up with the times. Technology is the way for now, and it's also the way of the future.
All of these must be a focus of the district and its resources. We need to continue to improve and maintain our facilities so that we can have a safe and healthy learning environment for our students. As a district, we must make it more appealing for educators to come and work here, so teacher retention and recruitment needs to be a focus, and we need to continue to raise the teacher salaries here. The board's already taken a plan and is coming to the end of their plan right now to raise teacher salaries, and we need to renew that plan and continue to raise them. We must also address the need for a more technology-advanced district. Digital learning is a concept that must be embraced by the district. We must fund it, implement it, and make adjustments to it as we move ahead. Technology is changing the face of the business and industrial world, and we should not forget the importance that it can bring to the educational world. By implementing this plan, we will see a direct impact in student achievement and student outcome.
This is a tough question because we need all of the things that were mentioned in the question. We have to replace part of the high school because it can't even be used now. We have two schools, the high school and the junior high, that were built at the same time, and they're both wearing out. We have to take care of those in the future. We must keep our teachers' salaries competitive. This is a constantly moving target. To attract and retain students, we must produce a good product. Therefore, money must be used to improve student achievement, which also involves tracking them and seeing how they're doing on their grades and changing things when it's not working. Therefore, money must be used to improve student achievement. Anything short is selling their future short. Since some of the greatest teaching tools are found in improving technology, we can't afford to fall behind. Therefore, money must be spent in all of these areas that were mentioned.
I think all of these facts have to be thought about. Facilities, as it just stated, buildings need to be kept up. I see that last time I was in here, they did have this auditorium redone. They've done a terrific job there. I think we still need to keep up with one, the computers, as I said, technology is the way of the future. But also, I think we need to get in with more of our automotive classes, vocational classes, things like that. Teacher retention, we need to have good benefits and stuff like that, and make sure that teachers want to stay here, they want to come to work here, and it's places they want to stay and retire from.
There's 5 different items on this question, and you can't focus on all 5. There's a budget, right? So teacher retention and recruitment has to be the forefront. If teachers don't own the solution, it doesn't matter what policy we pass, what the administrator says, it will not work. I would rather have a teacher who's right, incentivized, awarded, teaching in a shack to my kids, than have to worry about adding technology. Technology is not a solution. It implements and it helps support a solution, but it's not a solution in itself. Technology changes, teachers are what stay behind. So how I would do that, I would look at maybe position-based career systems, look at flexible work set, part-time teaching, and really getting a teaching council. Let the teachers look at self-evaluations and look at peer-based evaluations to start bringing them into the fold and owning the policies that we're passing. Thank you.
Technology and vocational and all that will come. Don't really have a choice but to do all of that. I think our main focus is keeping our teachers. Here's the reason we want to stay here 10, 15, 20 years of retirement. You do that, you take care of the teacher, you take care of the students. That's love.
I do believe that all the resources should be a main focus on GISD. The improved facilities, the teachers' recruitment and the retention, the student achievements, and the more technology needs. I believe we need to keep going in more reading and writing skills for the children, and along with keeping up with the improved student scores, keep increasing.
I'm going to do this real simple. I'm just going to put these in the order that I think the importance is. Number 1 being the teacher recruitment and retention. Number 2 being the student achievement and outcome. Number 3 being the improved facilities, and number 4, the technology needs.
Well, I certainly agree that all of them are important. You know, the facilities is certainly a good thing, but, you know, we've got a beautiful elementary school, but no child has become smarter because we have 30-foot stone walls in the entryway. So we need to spend those dollars in the right areas. So we need to get those back to the teachers, because they're not teaching because the building's pretty. They're teaching because they have the resource. And as an employer in this town, we need to, the technology is important, but we also need to teach the children what the technology means, because what is not spelled W-U-T when they apply for a job using this technology that they're not being taught how to use. So let's get it right with the teachers. Let's make their jobs easy. Let's support them. Let's give them the facilities to do it in, and the rest will come, I think, on its own.
As I've iterated a couple of times, and I'll repeat it this time, student achievement has to be at the center of
everything that we do, with an end goal on student achievement, having students college and career ready when they leave this building. They need to be ready to go out into the world, either seek secondary, post-secondary education, or get into the job market, which is, as we all know, becoming more competitive and more global all the time. I think that student achievement is best supported by hiring, retention, and the ongoing support of our staff. Almost everyone up here has mentioned staff, and I'll go back with the same thing also. We've got to take care of our teachers, because when the teachers are well taken care of, they do a better job of educating our children. And we all know there's not a teacher in the business that doesn't care deeply about children, or they wouldn't be there. And finally, we've got to have the financial support when we identify those things that we feel are important to advance student achievement, to provide the funding to make that happen.
I think GISD needs to focus on implementing the strategic plan. I fully support it, and it's the implementation of it, and particularly making improvements to the aging facilities. The old part of the high school is falling down. That's certainly a priority. Continuing to align curriculum and improving literacy across the district, working on efforts to recruit and retain teachers. Those are all very important to me. Thank you.
My vision for this beloved district is found in our newly adopted Gatesville ISD strategic plan. How many of y'all have seen the strategic plan? Raise your hand. It's on our website, gatesvillisd.org. Over 100 community members spent hundreds of hours in open discussions and careful research to compile a complete list of what they saw as the overall needs in our district, and I listened. Specific goals that guide that vision are beginning to help our students earn their associate's degree from a college before they graduate from high school. Our students who choose a vocational path can now earn workplace-ready certifications in welding, nursing, and other fields are being added also that will help them land good-paying jobs right out of high school.
Mr. Irwin, the district has been in the news lately because of a neighboring district crossing boundaries in order to bus children back to their district. How do you feel about that? What's your opinion on that? And do you feel like those boundaries should be enforced, or if we should allow them to continue to bus students to the neighboring district?
Problem. The buses are simply a safer alternative to transport the kids to and from school. The students are not choosing to attend Jonesboro ISD because they have a bus to ride. There's not a safe place to load and unload students at the boundary line with the Jonesboro School District. They tried that. It's not a good area. There was a fatal accident involving students on the way to Jonesboro in 2016. After that, several parents contacted Jonesboro ISD about sending buses into Gatesville to pick up the kids. In my over 25 years of experience with the Gatesville Fire Department as a first responder, it's my opinion that anything we can do to improve safety on the roads needs to be done, especially in the transporting of our kids to and from school.
First off, let me start by saying that a parent has the right to remove their child from our school district, and I fully respect that decision. But the mere fact is that after the parent makes that decision to remove their child, it is their responsibility to get them to that other campus. It is not the responsibility of GISD to facilitate a transportation system to where we allow other students to go to another district. I am here to represent and fight for the best interest of GISD, not another school system. Also, let me add a personal perspective to this. I drive through that mess every morning going to school. It's a tragic disaster that's waiting to happen. There are too many vehicles in one area trying to pull out on a busy highway. They pull in front of people all the time, and I've witnessed a dozen of almost wrecks occurring. But let me end this by saying that GISD needs to handle this situation and move on. We need to focus on working to continue making this district great so that we will not lose any more students to another school district.
Just to enlarge on what you brought up, I agree with you. I think the law should be obeyed. I have been informed that if a district drives into another district to transport its students back to their school, that bus and its students who are riding on it will not be covered by the school's insurance because they are committing an illegal act. Also, since we knew this, we are accessories and could be drawn into a lawsuit if an injury accident occurs. Therefore, I support enforcing our boundaries.
I think we need to enforce the boundaries. I do think we need to enforce the boundaries, but more than that, I think we need to go further and find out why is everybody wanting to pull their kids out and go over there. Step one is to finding out what the problem is. Step two is to fixing it. If it's all possible, find out why they're taking their kids elsewhere and why they were not bringing them back to here and why they pulled them out in the first place.
So there's laws that will guard this, and we should look to them to finish this. But really, it's a non-issue, right? So what the biggest issue here is that parents are deciding to move their students to another school district or homeschool them. So we fix that problem. We don't have to worry about buses and highways and all these. So the first foundational aspect of this is to get students and get parents. No student decided to go to Jonesboro. The parents decided there was a better opportunity, maybe a better teacher to student ratio, or maybe a better safe school in Jonesboro. What we need to do is change that around. And we have Jonesboro complaining to us that we're taking all their students. And the way to do that is to get the teachers empowered and give them the support. Get more job satisfaction. There's money is one thing, but job satisfaction, ownership, and being a part of the solution will bring those teachers back to Gatesville and bring the students back, and we won't have this issue anymore. Thank you.
I agree. The law will be the law, and we should abide by that. So that's pretty much, resolve. Our main issue should be why our students are want to leave, and why our parents so willing to take their kids somewhere else, even when they're willing to break the law. And as someone said, create a cluster and an unsafe position for all the cars and vehicles, especially at that intersection where it's at. It's already a dangerous place anyways. But we need to focus on why our kids are leaving. I think we need to empower our teachers more, because it is saying that most students don't come to school because they hate the school system, but because of the teachers and the staff and who are also involved in their education. If we can improve the teachers and empower them to be able to do what they need to, then I believe everything else will work out itself.
Correct for another school district to bring a bus into our district and pick up kids to taking them to their district. However, I don't disagree if a family chooses to send their child to another district, wherever it may be. It is a freedom of choice on what the school they believe is better benefits their child. I do believe in staying on a good relationship with all the surrounding schools.
Okay, we've all agreed that the law's being broken. We've all agreed that we've lost these students to the next district. Now we got to figure out why we lost them. But we need to, if it's legal to come to a written agreement for the next year to allow these buses, pick the kids up, let's make it through the year, then let's see if we can fix this problem. When I was in school, the kids that went to Jonesboro were failing here, or they were in trouble. That's not the reason they're leaving now. We got to figure out why and what it takes to get them back.
I certainly am concerned of the safety risk of people traveling that far on buses that shouldn't be leaving our district, and we do need to figure out why they're leaving our district. But I don't think today or in this school year is the time we draw that line in the sand and force parents to be putting their children in cars, maybe unsafe, traveling that distance. So we needed to try to work with Jonesboro, and then there will become a point when we get our systems fixed, our education system where they need and want to be here, then we can say the line is in the sand, don't cross it. We're neighboring schools, we want this relationship, but it's going to be a two-way relationship.
Parents always have a choice to send their children. They think their child can get the best education, and I would never presuppose to suggest otherwise to a parent. That being said, we do need to keep our border as it's been established. That's come out of the AG's opinion that was issued. If we could find an equitable ground for an interlocal agreement to be reached, I would consider that possibility, but just to keep good relations with our neighbors to the north. Also, I think we need to do a better job of communicating out the great things that are going on here in Gatesville, and maybe spend some more time listening to those parents that are leaving and find out, why did you leave and how can we make it better for you here?
So, obviously I do believe the law has to be followed. That has nothing to do with my belief that, Jonesboro has amazing students, parents, and families, and dedicated staff. I know that. I know many of them. And yes, I do support enforcement of boundaries, and I do support a parent's right to decide where they want to educate their child. So, I think it is legitimate to get down to, why students have left and look into that. So, anyway, just that's my opinion. Thank you.
I am one of 13 kids. I have an opinion. I'm the 8th child. Boundary lines are drawn for a reason. You cannot put up a fence in your neighbor's yard, and he cannot park his car in your yard. School districts all have boundary lines as well. The boundaries allow each district to protect its own property. The Texas Attorney General has ruled that Jonesboro ISD should not be driving their buses and picking up kids who live within Gatesville ISD. There are insurance liability concerns as well. There is an increased risk of suit and costs of defending suits associated with potential claims against GISD, which is us, Gatesville, by affected students and their families arising from state and federal laws. While Jonesboro ISD is driving within Gatesville ISD boundaries to pick up students for attendance purposes, Gatesville ISD could be considered liable because we were allowing them to drive within our district to pick up kids for attendance purposes. This liability, though, does not include after-school activities like athletics, band, choir, or UIL.
Whether the buses run or not is really not the issue to me. The issue to me is, why did these students leave? Yeah, we've heard this from some of the other panel members as well. But they've left for a reason. You take away the buses, the parents are going to still get them there. We've got to address why they left to get them back. Now, I'm going to throw out some numbers. There's over 140 kids transferred from Gatesville enrolled up the school up north. That equates to over $750,000 in loss of revenue per year. Now, that's serious also. That's a lot of funding.
We need to find out why these students are going up there, and we need to correct the issues at home rather than worrying about buses picking up kids and taking them up north. Thank you.
You know, as a follow-up to that, Mr. Coggins, let's say you're elected and you're on the board, and the board approves and passes a policy or an action that you personally don't agree with. What do you feel your responsibility to the public and to the community if this, policy or action gets passed? Do you feel your public, you should support that policy once it becomes policy?
Well, if policy or action, even if I didn't support the action, it is my duty as a board member and a member of that team to support that policy or action. If I was in the majority of the votes, I would expect the people in the minority to support my decision. The same goes if the roles were reversed.
The point is that you are a team. If an action is passed or a policy is passed that I disapprove of, I will outwardly support the policy, watching for the results, continuing to modify or replace the policy privately. In the 33 years that I have served on the Gatesville Independent Board, there has not been a bad board member. We have good people in this town.
I believe that there's a decision maker I don't agree with. I voice my opinion to the board, and if I overturn, support them. You're supposed to be a team. You're only as strong as the weakest person. You need to stand together.
My first time in the Army, my platoon sergeant took me into his office and said that we can argue, we can fight, we can kick each other in here, but when we leave this office, we're together. And so I support 100%, even if I wasn't on the winning side of the school board. But really, if there is a majority decision instead of a unanimous, we have a dysfunctional school board. Because the vote doesn't happen there. There's 30 days and sometimes 6 months leading up to that to get your agenda to compromise, to work with each other. So really, I would expect them to all come out unanimous. But of course, I'd support it. One thing I will say is we all have focus areas, and we're going to vigorously defend that. And I don't mind giving up a battle in one area to win the war in the end. So, if compromise needs on one agenda item, that's fine. But we will move forward with the policies I want to push through. Thank you.
Okay, we're not always going to agree. That's not our job to agree with every little thing. Our job is to take what the board has decided and fulfill that policy. We're not against each other up here. We're actually for and with each other. There shouldn't be any animosity between us. And I certainly don't expect us all to agree. But whatever our vote is, that's the way it should be. And all of us should, with all our intentions, do our duty to fulfill that policy as best we can.
Eight, and if a policy passes that you didn't support, you still have to follow and support the policy. And hopefully through discussion, you will see the reason for it passing and how it will be beneficial to the school district.
If you elect me, I'm working for you. I'm representing you and your wishes. If I don't agree with something that passes, I'm not going to go out and badmouth it, talk it down, try to misrepresent it. But if I don't like it and I don't support it, I'm not going to support it. I'll go along with it because the rest of them voted on it, and it's going to be the policy. But y'all are the ones electing me for the way that I think and the things that I do. Just remember that. And if I don't agree with it, I'm probably not going to support it. I may come around to it at a later time, but at first I may not support it. Probably won't.
I would think that by the time that it goes to a policy change or procedure change of that nature, I've voiced my opinions probably by that point to the extent where I'm going to support it when it becomes something that we voted in, we go forward with.
I voted. I would gladly share with them and give them my reasons, but also articulate the reasons that the board came to the consensus they did and the purpose behind the vote. I would also want to look for a process whereby we could reevaluate, constantly be into an evaluation and growth cycle so that we were constantly going forward and trying to make things better for the district.
As a board member, you have the right to your opinion, and you should communicate that. But it's your responsibility, and you should always be respectful of the decision of the board moving forward, and you should actively work towards the success of that decision that was made.
Before any action is voted on, our board members have in-depth discussions on each item being presented during board meetings. We listen to each other's opinions before coming to a conclusion. If we do not feel that we are ready to vote on an action item, we table the item and request more information, and then discuss it again at the next board meeting. My responsibility to any policy or action that gets passed that I do not wholeheartedly agree on is this. I need to be humble enough and wise enough to accept that I may not always be right, so I trust the majority vote.
I like to say I'd like to represent the community. And I want to talk to you, I want you to talk to me, and I want to take your opinions to the board to introduce whatever we need to do what's right. And when you get this information as a board, they talk about you need to discuss it. You maybe even need to table it to get more information, research it, what you need to do. And then when you take your vote, whatever the vote comes up, you've got to agree with it. The other side of it is you will still review it and see if what you did is correct. If it's not, then you go back and review it and re-vote again. But in the end, whatever the final vote is what you have to support as a board member. If you're right, that's good. And I'll tell you, I've been wrong more than once. Thank you.
The board functions as a body of one. Each member has the opportunity to present their point of view and attempt to gain the support of others. I believe a diverse board is much more effective than a board where all the members think alike. If you need 7 different opinions on the board, you need to come to one resolution of every issue. Once a vote's taken, the actions of the board must be supported by each member. And I have a few seconds left. I want to address one issue a while ago that was talked about. The Attorney General issued a ruling. The Attorney General issued an opinion, not a ruling, on the busing, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, candidates, the administration wants the question answered. It's been videotaped and will be used against you at future meetings. Dr. Norris, research has shown that parental involvement is crucial to a student's success. What impact could the board have in order to motivate parents and caregivers, guardians to increase involvement with their children's education?
Boards can have a huge impact on turning family members into teachers. We are currently piloting a program which invites family members into the schools to show them how to help their student, why their student needs help, and the goals of their efforts, and to give them the tools that they need. We now employ our first social worker. This lady can enable families to connect to various local, state, and federal agencies to provide food, clothing, and training. But while she's in that home, she can help break down the ethnic barriers to education and to be an advocate for the students.
I think to start off, you have to ask the parents, how can you help them? And then they ask you, how do they help you? They take over where you finish. They pick their kids up at the end of the day, and they take over. So if you help the parents and the parents are able to come up to the school and have an open door and talk straight to teachers, then they know how to help their kids at home, and you know what their kids need when they're at school.
We don't think you need to motivate the parents.
They already are motivated. If you see the long lines in the morning, you see the long lines in the afternoon, what you need is to bring them together collaboratively on what we need from an administrative, a school board, and a teacher perspective. So whether that's going out in the community, which after the strategic planning committee and action teams, they're hungry for what else can I do? How many of you have all looked through the calendars and the portal websites just to find when that certain band is playing or when the team is playing or what am I supposed to do for our teachers? So we bring down a collaborative portal. We go out into the community. The school board needs to stop sitting on Monday night expecting you to come to them. It's time for us to go out to you. And really that's the shift that I want in the school board. It's a job, it's a high energy, and so between town halls, teacher councils, and student auditorium visits, we will come out to you to get your opinions and then bring in the parents to be motivated. So thank you.
First of all, if you want parent involvement, we need to go straight to the source and ask teachers. They're the ones involved with our students. They are with our students more than sometimes even as a parent. Get their input, get their involvement. They know more than any of us up here. They understand their students and they understand their parents. No one hears complaints more than the teacher. None of us board members will probably hear half the stuff that as a teacher y'all have heard, been called or whatnot. We want parent involvement. We need to get to the source and ask teachers and get them involved. Get them to give us their ideas, not our ideas. Thank you.
In the schools. It is very important. We need to encourage all citizens that they can come and read with our children, especially the ones in the lower grade. The kids love to see outsiders come in and read to them. We need to encourage all parents to use the parent portal. It is a great tool to stay informed and on top of our kids' grades. We need to stay involved and be aware of all that's going on.
We need to support our teachers with programs that are available. I'm sure there's many programs out there that help include parents. Parents are, I know me and my wife as parents were very involved with everything the kids did, band, anything, school programs. We attended everything. We never missed anything. We showed full support for our children. And the support is what the children need. Some home projects that the adults help the kids with. The list goes on, and you got to be pretty creative, I think, to try to involve the parents. Some of the parents are pretty tough to get involved. A lot of kids don't have a good home life, and that's the hard part.
It's instrumental to the success by getting the parents involved, and I have talked to a lot of different teachers in our district, and one of the cries for help is support. And support, when I ask, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the administrative support? And a lot of it is the lack of support from the parent and guidance, discipline, getting homework turned in, and those kind of things. So we have to, as a board, come up with a plan that helps enforce and provides a way for, I don't know, maybe the superintendent visits the home, we talk to the parents. Something's got to give. We have got to reinvest in our children's future as parents. I have a child in this school. He struggles at the beginning of every year, and I find myself having to drive up to the school and have lots of conversations until we get it worked out. Okay, I'm not going to say he's a bad kid. He's a good kid. What I have been experiencing is there's a couple of teachers that care enough to text or email me, and I'm being thanked by these folks for being a parent. So we have to engage the parents. We have to make them understand that they matter and what they say matters. and being involved is important.
Parent involvement is obviously critical. If nothing else, it sets the example to the student that education is important to the parent, and that obviously is going to trickle down to the student. They're going to take a further interest in home education and the importance of home education. That being said, as a board, if there was a question, I think we can do a good job of one-on-one communication with parents, someone mentioned parent portal, as far as
Being up with your child's academic status, attendance, etc. That's a wonderful tool that's available to parents. Teacher conferences, just attending their events. Kids love to see you there. And that being said, I think personal attendance from board members is important, both for the students and for the community members, the parents. Whether you're going to a concert, you're going to a ball game, open house, the tours that are available around the building, I think we could set, as board members, a good example for the community to get personally involved.
This one's a hard one for me because, I say that because I've witnessed the lack of parental involvement in my own family. Matter of fact, we were just on a phone call before we came here. It's very frustrating sometimes to motivate parents to be in their child's life and to be involved. So, obviously it's very important for the district to communicate with parents about their student needs and what's going on in their school life. And the board is putting processes in place to make this happen. One of them is the social worker that was just hired. That position can work with families and connect them with the appropriate resources available in the community to help support the education of their child. Another thing the board supports is improving and streamlining communication of school events and things that are going on, make it easier through the use of an integrated district-wide calendar. So these are just a couple of things that have been part of the strategic plan that the district has been working on implementing.
This year, Gatesville ISD hired a full-time social worker because we want to provide extra help to our at-risk students as well as work with their parent, grandparent, or other caregiver to help meet the children's needs so that they will not remain hungry, cold, tired, sick, etc. Because research has shown that a child learns better at school when his physical needs are first met. It's hard to concentrate when your stomach is growling and you're tired because you were too cold to sleep the night before. GISD nurses, counselors, teachers, administrators, and our social worker will create a circle of care for students in need. Also, our volunteer Lions Club, Exchange Club, Boys and Girls Club, Daryl McWhorter and the Food Pantry, our churches, and other caring organizations within Gatesville all work together to provide Gatesville kids in need so that they can grow into healthy, happy, and productive citizens with good jobs so that they can one day support their own families.
Of the 23 questions we had, this is probably the hardest one for me to come up with a sensible solution. You have parents that in some cases have 2 or 3 jobs trying to make a living, and then you have other parents that just really don't care. And you really don't see these parents until about the last 6 weeks of school or less because they're worried that their child is going to fail. As a board member, I think you have to support the administration, especially the teachers, and try to encourage through notes going home, the portals that we have, trying to get these parents up to see their children. I might even suggest having, a lot of times parents will come see their children's in a play or a choir concert or something, some activity that they're involved in. You might get them there then. But it's very difficult to get the parents up. If you have open house, they say, well, I saw all the kids except the parents from the ones I needed. So we need to work on this, and I hope we find a solution.
I think the Gatesville ISD strategic plan and the community workshops are great tools to help get families involved in the students' education. That being said, I still believe that when teachers feel supported and students have a positive and safe learning environment, parental enthusiasm and involvement will automatically follow.
I believe that the board can improve on motivating parents by increasing public awareness. If the school board would consider advertising more programs and the programs that they already have in place, and then making themselves more available as a school board member to the parents for them to address their concerns and stuff like that, it'll get parents more involved and more willing to come out to things. If school board members would attend every, band concert or choir concert or football game that was there, parents, they're with the parents that might be with their child at that event, and a parent can address their concern on their child's education to them, and the board can better improve the way, they address the situation.
Curricular activities as far as the overall strategy of the school system?
I think they're a good idea because some kids excel at different things. Some kids are good at art and sports. Some are good at science club, stuff like that thing. But all in all, I think if we get them all together as a team, learn how to work together. If you learn how to work together on the football field, here, in the band, different clubs, you're going to have to do the same thing out in the real world.
I would say very pleased to be able to work with many of the coaches here from the SQS and the band leaders, and it is amazing when you see a kid who's on the side, not doing well, they do go down the wrong path, bringing them together on the team and bringing all their teammates in has brought them forward. We're not just making students and college-bound people, we're making good citizens. And that's what we need to do. So these extracurricular activities do so much to make a well-rounded person. And really, whether that's trade or whether you look at sports or music, I'm really happy with the extracurriculars. That's one of the things that brought us to Gatesville so long ago, and really which inspired me to become a coach and to keep working. And really, I just thank you all for allowing me to do that and working with the kids on those extracurricular activities.
We shouldn't forget about the fine arts programs. It's like everyone else has said, it's equally as important as any other part of our school, the vocational, the athletics. All our kids are different. Fine arts offer lots of skills that our students need, like decision making is a big major one. We need to focus on them and those students that choose that route rather than the ones that don't choose athletic programs or any other type of program. We can offer programs that suitable for everyone and every student, because all students are different, not all of them are the same, and we need to accommodate their differences as well as we accommodate our own differences. Thank you.
Activities are very important to offer in their school system. Some children learn through music and others through extracurricular courses on how to express themselves and build up their confidence. Not all kids participate in sports, so there is other ways a child needs to benefit, and these are some great ways.
Y'all may not believe this, but I know a little bit about fine arts. Just because my wife was a music teacher for 28 years. That's the only reason I know a little bit about fine arts. Fine arts, it makes the mind work. It makes you exercise your brain. When Mr. Westbrook would take kids that never picked up an instrument and have them playing that various instruments in a short period of time, unbelievable. But it's because they make the mind work and make the desire. That even triggers interest in Beethoven and some of the music, that I don't listen to. But my wife had them listening to it, and the kids actually enjoyed it. Thank you.
Fine arts and extracurricular activities are it's a part of being in a public school. It's absolutely important. some children may go on and become these well-known people of our future that a lot of us won't be around to see. We need to offer those things here. As long as the education portion is as important, I absolutely support it fully all the way.
Before I moved into administration, they produce well-rounded individuals and offer opportunities for kids to express their human spirit in any other way. And I've seen it change lives for kids. You know, Plato said in the Republic, we should teach our leaders mathematics to discipline their mind, we should teach them athletics to discipline their body, and we should teach them music to discipline their soul. And I believe that very sincerely. We have to integrate all aspects so we can reach all students wherever they are, whatever their interest, whatever their ability level, so that we can get them involved and they can buy into the school and feel a part of things.
You know, I think no one can argue that studies have shown that participation in fine arts and extracurricular activities are key components to a well-rounded education and for preparing students for the workplace. Some of the ways that this does that is, you know, with time management skills, setting priorities, exploring diverse interests, building self-esteem, enhancing creativity, you know, making a contribution and what that means in terms of teamwork, reducing dropout rates, raising attendance, and fostering a love for learning. So it is very important.
Well, do I believe in fine arts? You're sitting in it. This is a $1 million facility that was paid for by cash. I performed plays on this stage when it was old. Fine arts are, it's kind of like peanut butter with jelly. You kind of have to have the jelly just a tad bit to even make the peanut butter and milk go together. So, enough said. What do I say? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
Fine arts are important, and I can personally relate to that. I had a daughter, I guarantee you she was not athletic. But, you know, if you look in any child, they have some hidden talent. And we got her involved when she came to high school in a one-act play, which her junior year they advanced to state, and she had a minor part, but she wound up being an honorable mention all-star cast. She was also in the band. In her freshman year, they went to the state UIL marching contest in San Antonio. She was also in debate and did very well. But the thing it does, it keeps the students involved. And it gives them something to do. They build friendships. It keeps them in school. You'll have a coach at some point in time that's going to have an impact on your life. So it keeps the kids involved. I could talk on, but it says I'm out of time. Thank you.
I believe that all extracurricular activities and fine arts programs are very important in the education process. Our young people have the opportunity to showcase their skills in a wide range of activities. These opportunities help the individual student define who they are and possibly afford them the ability to further their education in those fields. Extracurricular activities should not take precedence over academic and vocational achievement.
Fine arts and extracurricular activities are a large importance to the overall educational experience. It can provide a child with a life lesson or a skill that they would not have achieved in one of the core classes that we provide here. And like Mr. Westbrook, I have my own biased opinion on this. I've been a part of the Gatesville Choir program since 6th grade. This experience has not provided me with the ability to sing, but with the ability to work as a team and be a leader. and I'm also the president of the Gatesville High School Student Council. And with this, we work with all the programs here at GISD, and we provide leadership skills to our members. We teach them through our programs how to be able to run an organization. We teach them about a chain of command, and we teach them skills that are learned in our organization that can help them in real life. These examples and these things cannot be taught in math classes or English classes. These programs are key components to making a positive and effective educational system. Thank you.
Fine arts and extracurricular activities are essential. For some students, they're the whipped cream on the top. For some students, they're the actual brownie underneath. If a student does not become a professional actor or a musician, these cultivated talents will add to the relaxation and the depth of their adult daily lives. Athletics develop bodies and minds, self-control, teamwork, and endurance. You learn to push the envelope of your capabilities, and the never-give-up spirit will be with you for life. These activities give the opportunities for teachers and students to work closely together for more extended times. This gives the opportunity for a well-grounded teacher to impart life lessons to these students. Lastly, these activities can be motivation to keep students from dropping out.
I'm very glad to see these folks willing to put their name on the ballot in order to improve the ballot. Mr. Thomas, speaking of the community, pre-K, do you feel like it should be a priority of the district getting full-day funded pre-K system?
With stipulation.
My kids went to First Methodist and had a great education there, and it built them up to be ready to move into the public school system, and we're fortunate for that. But part of the pre-K funding needs to be as part of an overall policy and goals for the district. It can't be a daycare, but it needs to be something that we feel proud to bring our kids to. That it's not something that we have to because we can't go to First Methodist or one of the other great pre-K programs around here. It needs to be integrated in, whether that's extracurricular, fine arts at that level. That's where pre-K starts to develop the mind. So I'm for that as long as an administration and as a school board, we set up the policy with specific goals and visions for the pre-K that work in conjunction with our own visions and goals. Thanks.
I also agree with having a full day. Not only does it make it more convenient for the parent, but mostly on a half day, how much time does a teacher actually get to spend teaching a student with 2 hours? And you got to involve playground time, you got to involve food. Really, what can we do with just 2 hours? And then their whole next preparation is waiting for the next class. Yes, I believe we do need to focus and have a full day in a pre-K, and not just blow pre-K off because they are so young. A lot of parents don't even bring their kids to pre-K or to, as Mr. Bruce said, other places because they can't afford to take their kids anywhere. We would be good to provide them for that. Thank you.
A better start on a successful kindergarten.
I've kind of struggled with this question. Thought about it a good bit, and it's definite we need to provide all we can for our kids and their start and their future. I guess you just there would have to be a lot of a study done on it, see how bad we really need it. And most important, can we afford it? Can our system afford it? Is the funding there? Sure, it's needed. If it's available and we can, it's just going to make a better kid. It's going to shorten some of the daycare for parents, for the expense. It's definitely something to look at.
Okay, so pre-K at my daycare consists of, they come in the morning, we serve them breakfast, they have school activities, they eat lunch, they take a 2-hour nap, they get up, they have a snack, we learn some more, and then we actually bring in the all-day pre-K from the school. Okay. Yes, it's a financial burden on the parent, but it's a lot of resources that are tied up at the school level for children that certainly do need some form of an educational environment. But I'm not sure, and I would love to see some more data on it, but I'm not sure that it's what the school needs to focus their resources on at this point.
I did more research on this. I think it is a good question because there's a lot of literature out there, a lot of conflicting literature. The biggest thing I gathered out of everything after talking to folks that work with me is very beneficial years up the road when it's well structured.
Defined curriculum that's being used. I think maybe for the age group that the half-day setting is probably appropriate. That's just my opinion on the thing. I would be open to considering full day if someone could convince me, as we talked about a while ago, making your point, if someone could give me good data and good research that showed that it was beneficial. Also, I like the way we do things right now where there are certain qualifying criteria, because the research also shows that when you target the folks that fit the criteria, that there's far more benefit to be derived in the long term. So I like the structure that we have right now, but I would consider, certainly if you could convince me, that full-time would be fine.
I like the idea of pre-K. I have 5 kids total and 1 grandson, and some of them have attended pre-K and some have not. And so I have seen firsthand the benefits in my own family that pre-K offers in terms of educational readiness and behavior. But that being said, I do not see funding a full-day pre-K for all as a priority for GISD right now. There's a lot of more research that needs to go into that. I would rather see the district focus on continuing working on aligning curriculum, improving literacy, addressing aging facilities, employee retention and compensation, and implementing the GISD strategic plan.
I would like to see a full-day pre-K for all in Gatesville ISD. Our kids are being required to learn and master so many more objectives than we had to. It's crazy, and yet it is the world we live in. So I am a big supporter of a full-day pre-K. The question is, how do you afford it? If we can find it in the budget, it can be done.
Under current attendance laws, pre-K is not required, but it says if they enroll in pre-K, they must meet attendance standards set forth by the state. Now, with that being said, we offer pre-K for half day, if I'm not mistaken. I do know there's a lot of facilities that offer pre-K rather than Gatesville ISD that the students or children can attend. I'm not opposed to it, but I think, again, I would like to see some more data. It would also depend upon the teachers being available, classrooms being available, funds available, and resources. So I think it needs to be looked at. I think it also should be the desires of the people in the community as to whether they need it, want it, and will support it. Thank you.
I would like to see every child afforded the opportunity to attend pre-K. That being said, I like the current system that affords pre-K free of charge to families within certain income levels. I would also like to see a tuition-based system for those families above that income threshold, as many of our neighboring districts do.
Gatesville ISD is currently meeting the requirements for pre-K that are specified by the Texas Education Agency. I feel that children that meet these requirements attending pre-K will get a good foundation and head start in the overall educational experience. However, funding a full-time pre-K is something that would require additional cost analysis, study, and the effect that this program would have on local businesses concerning a full-day pre-K program. It is something that I am open to talk about, but I'm definitely not ready to make a decision on the matter and would have to do more research on the matter before coming to a conclusion.
Like David, I have had mixed emotions of pre-K for all. For children with learning disabilities, low socioeconomic status, unstable family situations, I think pre-K is imperative. For children of parents who are motivated to teach their children at home, spend quality time with them daily, and support more formal education, does the school system want to be in competition with the quality preschool programs already in existence in our town? Having said that, the GISD board is currently considering funding pre-K.
Kids, one of them went to one of the local here, Let's Grow. One did not. I can tell a little bit of a difference on both sides, but I'd rather see the money go towards, as we talked about earlier, getting the teachers different benefits packages, getting them the retention here with the kids. I'd rather see it go to that than a pre-K right now, because we already have good things in place. We have quite a few of them here in town that are top notch.
There's been a growing trend in some school districts actually privatizing different roles, services, departments. Are you a fan of the privatization of roles and services underneath the administration or not?
That's a touchy, and you can't just pick one side on that. I believe there are going to be exceptions when we're going to have to outsource. But for the most part, I think we should find qualified people to do our jobs within our district. But yes, we will have to find an outsource eventually for some programs.
Our district was unable to handle, and we had a private company come in and try to save us money. It is certainly would be a plus for us to look into. If we could prove it would save money and not jeopardize our staff, it would definitely be a benefit. A prime example has been our food department in our district.
I'm not opposed to bringing in private business to do something. In my business, I do everything I can myself, but there are certain things we can't do, and you're better off money. It's money well spent sometimes. You can possibly get a better job done by bringing in a specialty on it, and sometimes we just don't have the resources within our business.
This is very much where the school system needs to work just like a business, as Mr. Fentress just said. Even in my company, some things we just don't do as well as folks that do it on larger scales, and there's certainly a cost savings, and I think that we do need to research those, maybe in our food and beverage, those sort of items, things that we need and can privatize, save money, put it back into the education system, and still have and offer a good service. I'm absolutely good for that. We just need to do the research before we make those decisions.
Whenever possible, I think we do need to stay in-house. I think that proves our employees that we have trust in their abilities to do things. I think we need to support the local community whenever possible. However, if something does arise, as a couple of us mentioned, that may be out of the scope of the abilities that we have with current staff, or if there were significant cost savings that could be derived by using outside contract or outsourcing the work, I would be in favor of doing so.
About 4 years ago, the food services was facing a $300,000 projected loss for the coming year. So Sodexo was brought in and losses have been cut by 80%, and productivity has increased at all campuses. So I believe the district was smart in that move. On the flip side of that, the district just pulled out of the HOT Special Ed Co-op, and that was costing the district about almost $1 million a year, and the services were being shared with other districts. So this year, the district put that service in-house and now has local control, better customer service, access to federal funds, and Medicaid reimbursement. So there's a potential to come out ahead on that. So obviously, you got to look at each program or service and evaluate that on a case-by-case basis.
Amen. Hiring private companies to work for Gatesville ISD in any capacity will be considered on an individual basis as the needs arise. And after much studied data, research, and board discussions, each sealed bid that is presented to the board must be researched, voted on, and approved by the board. This is not something we take lightly. This is not something that we do spur of the moment. It depends on the budget and as the need arises.
I want to be quite honest. I don't want somebody from outside of the city of Gatesville or the Gatesville ISD coming in and telling me how to run my business. Now, with that said, you know, they don't know that this is conservative, what I can call a conservative rural community, and they may live in Dallas or Fort Worth or Houston. They don't know the needs of this community. Now, with that being said, there are maybe times that you do not have the expertise in staff that can do what you need to do. Now, with that in mind, then you hire somebody until you can train your current staff and employees to do what needs to be done. Thank you.
I believe the only reason we should contract out any work or services would be if we are unable to provide that service at an acceptable level, in a cost-effective manner, and in a timely manner. Often it's much more efficient to contract services that are very specialized or services that are not utilized on a regular basis.
I agree with Ms. Ford on this issue. This needs to be something that's decided on a case-by-case basis. If we can find ways to save money and put it back into the education system and put it more into our staff members or our students, then contracting is definitely an option. But the board would have to discuss this and research it and ask questions before we come to a decision.
Privatizing can be useful when you do not have the talent or resources available in the district. A good example was the strategic planning organization. Mr. Penrod used a firm that he had experience with. The result was good. On the other hand, our curriculum team just organized a teacher in-service where the majority of the speakers were our own teachers. I understand it was received very well. We have a wealth of talent in our staff, and we should use them every time we have the chance.
I like it, but sometimes you just have to, you get a better service. So,
well, of course, everything has to be taken on a case-by-case basis, but one of the things you have to ask yourself as each of these come out, is it going to be better for the teachers? Is it going to be better for the students? There's only so many ways and so much you can spread the peanut butter before you start running dry. We don't need to add more to the teachers, more to the administration, reallocate new staffs, or create a new position that does twice as much work as before. So where it makes sense, and I deal with government contracts daily, and I hate it, but I've gotten fairly good at it. But so we need a specific statement of work. And for example, one of the things is a portal creation. Our portal is very separated, very stovepipe. There's 5 different campuses, 5 different ways to find information. I'd rather have a team come in and integrate that and take that load off the teachers, the IT personnel, and bring that together. Same thing for a database where we can bring in what organizations want to provide, from reading books to working with the kids on tutorials. There are technology firms that can out and do better. However, in school and privatization across the board, no, 2 things have to be taken in mind. Is it better for the student, and is it better for the teacher? Thank you.
versus urban. You know, we try to fight that all the time down in Austin because somebody in Houston can't tell you exactly what's the best plan to do for the ISD in Gatesville, Texas. You know, our children know which restroom to use. But anyway, Ms. Bankhead, let me ask you a question. I saw a presentation that said once teachers get here, they stay here. So what would you do to encourage recruiting and retention of our educators? That's to you. Yes. Oh, no.
Retain by making sure the teachers had the resources that they needed. Was this one of our questions? Which one? Let me read. Look, I'm not good on the spot. Where is it?
Number 11. You want to give them my answer?
Oh, I got it. Let me see.
I'll make up another one.
We set the policies on the discipline. I got it. We need to look at the salaries of all the staff so that we can be competitive with our surrounding districts. And we need to provide all the staff with everything and the resources that they need in order for them to reach their goals for the kids. And also we need to be as open to all ideas for improvements.
Okay, it's real simple. You want to attract teachers, you got to give them something they want, more money. We got to get our pay scale up for the starting teachers. Then you got to provide them the best programs and the best support. You provide them with discipline, you back them, you support them. If a teacher gets onto a child, the principal has got to enforce. And in the beginning, you have to set your policies so that every child knows, and then you can support your teacher. But that's the whole problem, is supporting your teacher, backing her, standing up for her. And I hope I've answered the right question.
Money is certainly part of the puzzle, but we need to, as a district, set a goal to be the best place to work. And it maybe sounds like something out of Austin or Houston and places that I've lived before. But it's the reality is we are Gatesville. We're a small community, but we're a proud community. And if our school is the best place to work for a teacher, then we fix those problems because those teachers are proud to be here. They're doing what they want to do, and they're doing their jobs, and they're making our lives easier as citizens, parents, taxpayers. All of the things come together when we get the teachers and make them happy.
I think if we assure teachers that they're going to be properly supported, both in terms of academics and in terms of student behavior, that's going to be a huge draw. If that's the culture and the climate that we've set within our district, people are going to want to work here. Academically, that's
providing quality, ongoing professional development for the programs and the procedures that the district has decided to put into place. Student behavior, if a teacher has a problem with a student, they need to know when they go to that building principal or that AP that they're going to be backed up and supported in trying to maintain a quality learning and teaching environment in that classroom. All that being said, also, I think we need to continue what at this point is an ongoing effort to make our teacher salaries more competitive with other districts in the area.
Policies need to be in place to ensure effective, open communication between admin and staff. The policies need to establish clear expectations and help create a culture of open communication, trust, and support. As well, Salary studies need to continue to be acted upon to ensure that a competitive compensation package is always in place. Stipends need to be in place for hard-to-fill positions, sign-on bonuses for high-need teaching areas, and also looking at loan reimbursement programs. I know there's one going online very soon here called Grow Your Own, and I would also include assistance for those wanting to obtain a master's degree.
Okay, you stole my show. So ditto what she said.
You know, of all the jobs that I have sought, asking what it paid was always one of the later priorities. But I will say your salaries need to be competitive, because I felt like if I or you or whomever went in to do the job and you did it correctly, you would be rewarded. But I think the more important thing is your working conditions. And if you're not happy going to work, then you're not happy. And you have to have a place that you are satisfied with every day. I think you have to have a strong administrative staff that will support you in the classroom. I can tell you, in the classroom, all you have to have is one unruly student, and they can destroy the entire learning setting. You need to have them out of your classroom where you can teach. I also would recommend that we have a student body that is respectful, which we've lost that pretty much this day and age. They need to be respectful of the teachers.
We need to be competitive with pay and benefits, but I'm going to back up just a second right there. I know, and it's not going to make any points with the teachers, but it's not all about pay. It's like you said, Mr. Olson, it has a lot to do with working conditions. Back when we paid the base salary only, we had teachers standing in line to come to Gatesville. Pay is great. Yeah, let's get it where it ought to be, but it's not all about pay. We need to regulate the workload. Our teachers are overloaded. When something is added to their plate, something will be taken off. That was a promise that was made by Mr. Penrod, and half of that's happening. If the plate's getting loaded, nothing's getting taken off. There's a time required to be in the classroom, and I would like to see a designated time for our teachers to go home. Family time and home time is very important. It seems to be overlooked. We must support our teachers in terms of classroom management and discipline. We must be a district that is firm, fair, and consistent in all areas.
If elected as a GISD school board trustee, one of the biggest policies that I will propose is a three-point approach. The first step will be to continue increasing teacher salaries, like I've said, and like other candidates have said. The board has already had a program in place that is steadily increasing salaries, and I would just like to continue that to make our salaries much more competitive with other school districts. Step 2 will be to provide tuition assistance programs, though, for teachers that wish to pursue their master's degree. This step alone can attract teachers to come to our district and want to remain in the classroom. Step 3, after our educators have received their master's degree, we should recognize this accomplishment by raising their stipend to more than the current $500 add-on to their annual salaries. This 3-step policy alone could positively increase the way people perceive our district and how we treat our educational staff members.
I think that Charlie Alderson nailed it right on the head on the successful and useful environment. I applaud you for that. Loan forgiveness in exchange for employment. Come out of college, you got loans, come and work for us, we can help you pay those back. Arrange cooperative efforts with local colleges where students who are interested in becoming teachers will receive scholarships from the college and at the same time loans from the school on a semester-by-semester basis. The loan will be paid back, again, by years of employment. For difficult-to-fill vacancies in hard-to-fill classes, offer a signing bonus. Continue to keep all teachers' salaries competitive with surrounding schools of our size.
To have a good competitive pay scale, good benefits, sign-on bonuses. I think the bottom line is most teachers, they got into teaching because they want to teach. Pay is always good, but you got to have a good environment. If they're not happy at work, then they're going to be miserable in their life. Make them work with them to give them what they need, more assistance, a strong backbone, to support system to help them get whatever they need done.
Love going later in the round for these questions. So really what we're looking at here is, and speaking with a lot of the teachers that have left recently, it wasn't about the pay, and I mostly believe that. It's the stress, the overwork, the feeling that when you send a problem child out, they're going to come back 5 minutes later and disrupt the class again. So stress, overwork, poor job satisfaction has been the 3 items when I've spoken with teachers who've recently left being the main issues. How do you fix that? Ownership, empowerment, and assurance that whether it's discipline or a unique idea for curriculum, the administration has their back. That they know that they will be supported, whether they're disciplining a child or maybe setting that advanced student off on another course, another project. One thing I would look at for recruiting is some part-time teaching, flexible work conditions, and a career-based system where the best candidate for each is pushed into positions. This allows more of the current new teachers as well as some of the recently retired teachers to come back to our schools. Thank you.
Well, we all know money brings people here, but we all know that there's not enough money to make you happy if you're going into a classroom that you don't want to be in. We want to keep teachers here. We have to create them an environment that they're happy in. Discipline is a big major factor, as well as Mr. Bruce. He's talked to other teachers as well as I have that have left, and most of them have said they just feel like they were a robot in that room. They have no say. I believe we need to give the empowerment back to the teachers and believe in their ability to make choices for discipline and whatnot. I know discipline has gotten way political. When I was growing up, it wasn't difficult for Mr. Blanchard sitting there to send me to Mr. Alderson. And, our teachers back then didn't say, oh my God, this student is coming into this classroom. No, they said, oh, if this student acts up, I know where I'm sending him. And I think we need to get back to that.
This is the gentleman that set this up for you. Candidates, I want y'all to follow Terry. He's going to escort you around and out to the front. We're going to cut it off now so you've got extra time to press the flesh and answer one-on-one questions, with the exception of closing statements. So we'll start with Mr. Fincher, since that's where we were, and that gives Ms. Bankhead the final closing statement.
Support you. Your votes are very important. Not only that, but we need, as a board member, I feel like we need to be able to talk to you teachers. Y'all got a problem, you need to be able to bring it to us. I know I probably didn't have the best answers. I don't have long speech answers for you. I'm short, to the point, and blunt. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the way I've dealt in my business, short and to the point. And I've lost some people over that, but most people respect me for it. And you know what you're going to get out of me. It's all plain up front. Thank you. I would love to have your vote, and I would love to serve for you.
13 people, 3 seats available. You heard our messages. Here's my speech. It's some numbers I wrote down for my business today, and I brought a notepad in case I needed to, because I didn't even bring my questions. I'm passionate about this. I'm here to support you, teachers. Go vote. Think of the tomato guy, Campbell's soup. Good. That's me, 5,280 feet, 5 tomatoes. Remember that on election day. I will support you. I'm here because of some of you in this room that I worked with on a strategic committee. You touched me. You made me want to come and do this. So I'm here for you guys, and I'm here for my son and the future of Gatesville Independent School District.
I think the recruiting
theme that I hear in the community and that I've heard here tonight is there's a concern on teacher support. I think those of you that worked with me through the years know I'm very passionate about that. I intend to support you in your efforts, both academically and with student behavior. Two things, and I'll close. Someone asked me today or sent me a message, said, I understand you believe in discipline, and I told them, yes, sir, and because of 2 points. If you don't have order, you cannot have education. And number two, if children are not held responsible for their own actions, they stand no chance of growing up to being respectful, responsible, productive adults. We have to hold them responsible, not accountable, responsible for their actions. I care very much about this district. I would welcome the opportunity to serve you, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
It is important that the district continues to make meaningful improvements to the learning environment that will facilitate student success. Key areas to achieve this are aligning curriculum, addressing aging facilities, providing a competitive compensation package to retain and attract excellent teachers, executing all aspects of the GISD strategic plan in a fiscally responsible manner. These all play a vital role in ensuring that our students are receiving the best education possible, and I'm energized to continue working on them. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you for this forum, and thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, I forgot to tell you, I taught 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 8th grades. I was the elementary counselor here for 3 years, and I was the junior high counselor here for 7 years. I worked in Midway ISD for 5 years as the middle school counselor. I do understand what teachers are going through. I have been one and am one. I have experience as a parent. I've raised 3 kids here, gone through the teenage years. I have grandkids that are coming up. I've got lots of kids that I taught 20 years ago that are now having kids. They call me Gigi. And, you know, I plan on being here. So look me up, Deborah Crosby Ford on Facebook. I've got a list of things I've done in the last 6 years with the help of our board. Thank you.
First, I'd like to say I'd like to be a representative of the community. I'd like to hear from you, and I will give you an honest reply, ever what that might be. I want to tell the teachers I've got you back. You can ask anybody that I worked with for years as assistant principal, and they will tell you, I hope, that I supported them in anything that went on. I told them, I'm working for you. Whatever you need, that's what we will do. I believe in strong discipline. I think if that child is misbehaving in your classroom, he needs to be getting his education somewhere else. Now, I didn't say suspension. There's other educational settings. Suspension should occur only from the alternative campus where you have no other avenue. But when you have that student sitting there and he tells you, he calls you a bad name, or he won't comply to your reasonable request, it's time that he goes home. I think we also need to look at the budget. Thank you very much. I'd appreciate your vote.
I have a long-standing interest in this school district. My parents, my wife, and I, both of our children graduated from Gatesville ISD. I have 2 grandsons enrolled now. Carlene and I have been married for almost 40 years. She taught in the district for almost 25 of these years. I'm very aware of the many issues that teachers are required to deal with on a daily basis. We must do a better job supporting our teachers. We need not only address these issues, address the lack of discipline, but we have to correct the problem. We must identify the causes for the massive loss of faculty and students, and they must be corrected. Our financial loss this year alone in the loss of students is in excess of $899,000. As 155 students have transferred to Jonesboro, that's 48% of the Jonesboro population, Jonesboro School District population is transferred from Gatesville. We must refocus our priorities. This administration has raised the budget in the 3 years a total of $1.146 million. Of that increase, $974,403 is for administrative costs. Those are the numbers, and they're in black and white. They came from the financial officer in the Gatesville School District. There's a lot of good things happening at the Gatesville School District. With more focus on the above-mentioned things, it'll only get better.
First off, I'd like to start off by saying it's been a great honor to be with y'all here tonight and answer the questions that you've submitted to us. I'd like to thank as well Mr. Aslan and Good Day Gatesville for putting this forum on. I'm still a student here at the high school. I spend my time in a classroom every single day. I know what students need, and I know what staff members need. I speak to staff members on a daily basis. Some of them I consider my friends. And I hear the concerns of students every single day. I know the discipline problems we have here. I know the curriculum problems that we may have here, and I know that things that we've been doing since the new administration has taken over has improved that. There's still room for improvement. There will always still be room for improvement, but I understand the problems more than anybody else on this stage does. And I would like to ask for your vote for November 7th. Thank you.
I do not have a negative opinion of the situation of our school at this time. I think our schools are doing well. We have a young, energetic superintendent and the future looks bright, but there is still much work to do. I would like to remain on the board to help implement our strategic plan, which has just been prepared. I would like to leave you with these words of encouragement from Jeremiah 29:11, which I think applies to us. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Thank you.
And to be even be considered for the board. I think, in short, we just have to focus on the kids, the teachers, making sure they're happy, and parents. Trying to make the school the best we can make it.
Thank you again. Thank you all for coming. One thing I'm going to bring to the board is passion, energy, and a relentless pursuit of opportunities for our children. We have 13 great members up here, and they're all pursuing one mission, is to make it better for your kids. And that's great. So, and we all have our core supporters that will go out there, and you're going to get in that booth and you're going to mark that first name. And all I ask for you is, given tonight and given what you've read online and some of the bios in the paper, as you start looking for that second and third, who's going to bring practical solutions? Who's going to change the way the school board's thinking of, instead of coming to the school board, we come out to you, whether that's at events or town halls or even in with the students. I will bring that to you, and as you start looking at that, hopefully I'm the first one, but as you look at your second or third vote, I ask you to vote for Bruce Toms. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming. And I'm sure we all agree that we're happy y'all didn't throw tomatoes at us while we were up here. I'm not up here to run for the school board. I'm here to make a difference in my community. And this is one way. This is a big way. You don't necessarily have to vote for me, but in the words of my dad, if you don't use your right to vote, you don't have the right to complain. So get out and vote. Every one of us here have the same intention, is to better our community. And thank you all very much again for coming out and listening to all of us, even when we didn't make sense.
And letting us share all our different views and helping us make our school district successful. If I get elected as a Board of Trustee, I will represent all bodies within the GISD in a positive way. I will do what it takes to help people better understand their answers they are looking for. I believe in making our schools great. I want the best for our children in preparing them for their next step in life. And I want the best for our staff so they will enjoy coming to work every day and give our children what they need. I want the best for our administration so they will be able to work with the board and staffs so we can have a school district we are proud of. And I want the best for our citizens so they will be able to welcome all new residents to our great schools. I am confident that I have the skills and knowledge to hold this position as a GISD trustee, and I would greatly appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Well,
y'all have a couple of things you're responsible for now. Number one, First off is going and voting. Number 2 is sharing with your neighbors what you saw here tonight. Share the information you got. 13 different answers to every question, you know. And number 3, be safe on your way home, please. We greatly appreciate the Gatesville Independent School District allowing us to use the auditorium for the forum, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Hornet Radio's edition of the Gatesville Forum. Please check the website. It will be made available to be re-listened to from now until the election day on November 7th. Once again,